Welcome to Midlife Matters. I'm Marie, and each week I'm joined by my friends Julie and Mindy to talk about all the topics keeping women in the middle years up at night. Today we're talking about 8 things a designer would change immediately if they had free reign over your home. Join us as we talk about these small changes that can have a really big impact. Let's get started. Listeners, today we're talking about refreshing our homes. Spring is here, and I'm doing something new every couple days, it seems like. I'm changing something. There's something about this time of year that makes me want to clean up and clean out. And it also makes me reevaluate my rooms and assess what's working and what's not. And in a very timely manner, Julie sent Mindy and I this great article entitled 8 Things a Designer Would Change Immediately If They Had Free Reign Over Your House. I just love that title, Julie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What a hook.
Yeah.
What's about this article and why it appealed to you?
Well, the author works for the article was in Country Living. She had worked for Southern Living. She had worked for Real Simple. And so she had worked in design for a long time, hearing from designers. And she said that while design is not a one size fits all, there are pieces of advice that she realized she heard over and over and over again, like that were consistent despite the trends or even what your style was. Like your style could be minimalist or maximalist or farmhouse or whatever. But these were tips that would apply to really everybody. And she said a lot of people can't hire a decorator. They're very expensive. I mean, I know I have never hired a decorator.
Mm-mm.
And so she said this article was kind of a consolidation of a collection of wisdom from people over the years. And she said sometimes you just look at your room and you think, what's not right? You just have this feeling something's not right.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes all it takes is a small tweak,
Mm-hmm.
and then the space looks complete or finished, or it looks more satisfying.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty accessible tips. I didn't feel like they
Yes.
required a lot of money or a lot of know-how. They were pretty accessible to everybody. What did you think about when you read it, Mindy?
I loved how simple and timeless it was. And Julie mentioned that this is something that won't change. It's not something that you have to necessarily go out and buy. It's
Mhm.
really just kind of how you do certain things that you're probably already going to do anyway. And so I loved it's such a practical list and very achievable. So I was like, this is easy and simple and I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah. So the very first one was hang your art lower. Do you guys notice that when you go into people's homes?
Well, I thought back to our first home that John and I think this was like a point of contention between us because John always liked to have an opinion on decor and he loved hanging pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, it was me that hung them too high. And he was like, no, it needs to be like eye level. And I think I always tended to have it too high. And it's kind of weird. I don't know why people want to hang it high, but nobody wants to, look up at art. It just makes sense to me to put it at eye level now, but I don't think I realized that at first. So, but now I'm very aware of it. And when they, in the article, it said 57 to 60 inches off the floor. So I actually got a tape measure and went around and measured. And that was about right. Yeah. It was like right in the middle.
The center of
Mhm,
your
the
piece
center.
of art should
Right.
be 57
Yeah.
to 60
Yeah.
inches. Yeah. Or it said if you're hanging art above a sofa or chest of drawers, try positioning it roughly 6 inches above the furniture, which is also a helpful rule of thumb.
Actually, yeah.
And I think people tend to go higher when it's over a piece of furniture.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I know, I don't know if it was age, immaturity, just naivety, I don't know, but I was the one that was hanging the art too high when I was younger, when we were first married. And I don't know why I thought, like, I remember I'm tall, I'm just about 5'10", and I remember extending my arms up the wall to nail it. I'm like, that I don't know why. Why are we conditioned to hang it too tall?
I
But
don't know.
like over the years, I'm not sure what finally clued me in that was not where it should be. However, over the years, it's slowly come down. I don't know. So this was really helpful.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was something that just naturally seemed to happen in my life.
And what a simple fix. If you
Oh,
have been hanging it too high, I think that would make a big difference if you just went around your house and took it
Mhm.
yeah.
took it down a foot or whatever, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even have to stretch anymore.
I almost never hang just one piece of art. I
Right.
usually have
Yeah.
them grouped, and so I think that also some of your grouping is gonna be even lower than that, like, kinda like the middle of your group needs to be eye level so that it all reads as one piece.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Right. I'll say I have a unique house and a situation I have never had before. But between my kitchen, breakfast room, and living room, there are only 2 walls that I could even put things on
Oh,
because
that is
everything
unique.
else is windows
Mm.
or the kitchen cabinets.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
And so it ironically does not have a lot of walls. And
Mhm.
so I actually found, or my friend actually found a large piece of art that's just perfect for my living room. And I actually have one large piece. And then
Mhm.
she even helped me know like where to hang it. And
Mhm.
thankfully she has a great eye and she already knew about the rule. And but yeah, it makes a very big difference, especially if you don't have a lot of places to hang things. I mean, you really
Yeah.
want that piece. That piece is gonna really kinda shine because it's it.
Right, right.
Yeah. I think it applies over your fireplace too. If you have a mantle,
Ooh,
I know I tend to hang things too high on that, but I think it looks good down closer to the mantle, even though
Mm.
things might kind of cover it up. But I
Mhm.
think
okay,
that's okay. Like a candlestick, or I think that's okay.
Mhm.
right. I guess that would include a TV too, wouldn't it?
Probably.
I think the TV needs to sort of be treated like a picture probably.
Like a picture? Yeah,
Mhm.
so about 6 inches above the mantle.
Yeah. And I'm looking at a TV in the article, and under this next one, they have a TV if you look at the picture, and it's very close to the
Oh.
mantle. I don't know if you can
Ooh,
see that.
okay.
So,
Yeah.
the next one was size up on your pillow inserts.
I think the key is what the filler is made of because I
Oh,
know I remember a lot of the things that she's talking about here. Michael and Smith, the nester, talks about in her book,
Mhm.
House Rules. And she said buy plumpable pillows. So I only buy the downfilled now, and they can go
oh.
as flat as a pancake when my kids sit on them. But when they
Mhm.
Right.
leave, I just go boop, boop, and then they get real fat again.
Mhm.
Mm,
So, and right
yeah.
now on my couch, I had bought 2 covers off Etsy, and I just was trying to use the pillow inserts that I had, and one was the exact size, like 22. It just looks really flat, and the corners don't fill out, and it's hard to keep it
Mm.
fluffed, and then the
Mhm.
other one is a 2-inch bigger pillow insert than the cover, and it looks
Mm.
great all the time. So, I'm
Got
always li
it.
I can't I probably had it that way for a year, and I just keep fluffing it, and I haven't
Mhm.
corrected it yet, but definitely the fuller one looks better.
Yeah.
But I think the key is that they're down because they can go really
Okay.
flat and they can go really fluffy.
Well, I will say just in the article for our listeners, she does say in parentheses that the restoration hardware has the best inserts. So in the
Interesting.
article, that was her suggestion.
I did
Yeah.
have to laugh, and I thought, "And what is that, $500 a pillow?"
So, yeah.
Well, one of my best Facebook finds this year was somebody was selling Pottery Barn inserts on Facebook Marketplace. And I looked them up. The regular $18 just for the insert. I think they're probably 18 by 18. And they were $3 each. And I think I bought like 10, and I think I gave a couple to my daughter, and then I kept the rest. And they are very nice. So if I don't know how that compares to the restoration hardware inserts, but I thought the Pottery Barn ones are very comfortable. So maybe compare
They
the
are.
2.
Yeah, I
Right.
have a couple of the Pottery Barn, and another place that I used to buy them was at Joann.
Mm.
You could just buy their pillow inserts, and there's not a week that goes by that I don't mourn the loss of that place.
Really?
Are you
That's
serious?
Oh,
so
every time
funny.
I think about doing something, "Oh, I need to just run to Joann's." I mean, because they covered it all, and there's just no good substitute. There's not. Never have.
Okay, what about Hobby Lobby?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just for some reason, it's just so big and the lines are so long. Like, Joann was just more crafty.
It
Hobby Lobby
was.
has a lot of furniture and,
Mhm.
all that. Joann's was I don't know. I see a lot of people online mourning Joann's.
Yeah.
A few people say that they really miss Joann's.
Yeah. Yeah. I've heard Michael's might take over some of that gap. Like they
Oh,
might start carrying fabric and stuff.
okay. Well, then we'll
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to watch Michael's to get some good pillow
Yeah.
inserts.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, my friend that helped even with the artwork helped me with pillows. And so she had suggested the Pottery Barn ones, and then she told me what to buy. And
Okay.
so thankfully, I have her to thank for teaching me a couple of these things because I don't know if she's just naturally good or where she learned these skills, but I love my Pottery Barn pillow fills and it continually fills out the pillow. And so
Mhm.
I fluff them every day and they're just so nice. And I've had them for a couple of years now.
And that's not a bad if they're $18, that's not
Mm.
bad. Even up to
No.
20 or 25, I wouldn't think is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Next one was swap out plain lampshades. And I have a daughter who is just on a mission to swap out every white lampshade in her house. And she's doing a great job. I mean, these printed lampshades can be expensive. So she's gotten several nice brands on Facebook Marketplace or at Home Goods. But Julie, I know that you've actually made your own printed lampshade.
Well, I have on my big lamps in my den, I don't want to switch those out because it does make them a little darker.
Mm-hmm.
Little accent lamps. Yes, I've done that to 2. I did a pleated shade on this little blue and white lamp that sits on my countertop.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had a little battery operated brass candlestick lamp that I had a shade that it just looked like it was white plastic or something, and I did put some fabric on that.
Mm-hmm.
But for the bigger shades, I haven't necessarily kept the shade that came on them because they, white plain, I just don't like that. So I've swapped them out for things that are like a linen look or, something that's textured.
Right.
I consider that not plain and not white. I don't know. It just warms up I like more of a warm light than a cool light.
Yes. I feel the same about my lamps. It needs to be a warmer, soft glow. And this is something I have not done at all yet. I mean, I have heard you guys talk about it. I think it's a great idea. I think it's super adorable. And it's something that I never think about once I leave my house.
One other thing I wanted to say is last year I bought 3 lamps at an antique store. So when you're looking at a lamp, don't say, I'm going to pass on that because the shade's hideous. Like, look at the lamp because I got some really great lamps. I got a blue and white. It looks really old. Looks like a Chinese vase kind of thing. But I didn't like the shade, but I'm like, I can fix that. That's an easy fix. That store, home, no, what is it called? At Home. They have a ton of shades.
Do they?
At a
Really?
good price. Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to ask where you find your shades at. So thank you.
Well, a brand that I hear on some designer podcasts that I listen to is Pookie. Have you heard of it, Julie?
Of shades?
Like they're quite expensive. And so if you're looking to spend some money, you could probably check out their website.
Yeah, I've seen some shade. I mean, you can spend $400 or $500 on a shade. Like really well-made shades are expensive, but I don't do that.
Yeah.
Clearly, it's lost on me. So
Yeah.
Because the shade really can be more than the lamp itself. I mean,
yeah.
Well, Mindy, I know that you've said before that your lamps can't be too expensive because you've broken so many. Like your boys have broken so many.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying. I have not broken lamps.
Mindy's not broken.
I still have one child left that still will start wrestling with somebody. And the lamps are not important to me right now.
It might not be your stage of life to invest a lot of money in lamps.
I'm not there yet. I have a very active animal.
Right. But this next one is something that you could do, Mindy, because I doubt your boys are messing around with your bookshelves. It says rearrange your books. And if there is one thing that is so relaxing doing something in a home, I think it's arranging bookshelves. I mean,
Yeah.
it is so relaxing. I wish I could do it multiple times a day.
I know.
wish you could
What a
come
better
over.
way to spend an afternoon. I love
It's
it.
just
Wow.
lovely.
When I think of an afternoon relaxing, that's exactly where my mind goes.
Either that or creating a gallery wall. I love both.
Uh-huh.
Maria, I need you to come over.
Or moving furniture.
Yeah. Yes.
But Julie, why don't you talk a little bit about what she said about bookshelves? Because you're awesome at arranging bookshelves too.
Well, thank you. Well, actually, Maria, when I read this one, I thought of you because I know there are a lot of when I was moving and trying to kind of stage my home, that was one thing you did really well on my bookcases, knowing that some go upright, some are stacked, put a little knickknack in there and bury it, so it
Mhm.
doesn't look so perfect. And I thought about all the ways because Michael and Smith talks about maybe color coding your books, having all the certain colors together.
Mhm.
At our house, it's more like what period of history?
True.
Civil War, Revolutionary War, World War II,
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
And then my little shelf over here. This is my books. These were John's,
Right.
But I remember one time you turned your books around
I
so that
did.
just the pages showed, which was really a cool neutral
Mhm.
effect. So everything was just the beige of the pages.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But then I
Um,
got a lot of flack from visitors
You
because
did?
especially men, a lot of men would comment like, "How do you figure out what book you're going to read?" Okay, most people aren't really choosing books off their shelf to read. They're usually books that they've read. Like the books are pretty much for decoration or they just want to save and own this particular book.
Yeah.
But I think that's hard for men to understand.
Yeah, they treat it as like John thought of it as an active library. He needed to
Right.
know where these books were.
We got to have a card catalog here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another thing Michaelin says if it sits out, it's decor. Even if
Yes.
it's a book, it is
Mhm.
decor. So you need to think of it that way, how you style it and store it.
Right. And
Uh-huh.
like a lot of books, okay, so say somebody has a lot of books and they love their books. Like I would say if you have paperbacks, turn them around. Or I do have some paperbacks, but maybe they're a series and they're a pretty color. And so they
Mhm.
kind of blend. But if I just had random paperbacks and I really couldn't bear to put them away, I think I'd turn them around. And then also for hardcovers, you don't have to get rid of them if they have ugly covers. A lot of times, if you take off the dust jacket, it's pretty neutral under there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or that's when you find a solid blue, a solid red,
Mhm.
yeah, they are prettier oftentimes without that cover.
Mm-hmm.
We have so many books that like there's not enough room to like make them cute necessarily in the wall of shelves that we have, the bookshelves.
Mm-hmm.
And so how do you handle that? Like
In the
Yeah.
name,
I would say
in the
if
name
it's
of
paperback,
aesthetics, if it's a
I don't even
paperback,
put
it's
it
out
out.
of there.
If it's out of there, if it's paperback.
It
I
needs
try
to
not to
go
buy
behind
paperback.
closed storage then, if it's
Yeah.
paperback.
would you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, cuz we have some children's series that we want to keep and things like that that are meaningful. But yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like those are in a closet, like my homeschool books, and those are just in a bookshelf
Yeah.
in a closet that I keep.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, what if one of us needs to read that?
you know where to find it.
And then I would say mix art in there. I love to see art mixed in there or some family pictures, different souvenirs. I'm always picking up a souvenir on my travel that I'm going to somehow work
Mhm.
into my bookshelves. Sometimes I see people have done their bookshelves and I'm not trying to be critical here, but maybe just a hint. Like my mom said this to me one time because I had just arranged like a bunch of picture frames on my bookshelves. And she's like, it's not a store display, Marie. And that's true. We're not trying to sell picture frames here. Like they need to be mixed up with books and other things so that they
Mm.
look more like it's fine to have those, but they can't just be like 6 pictures in a row and that's the shelf.
Right.
Like you got to mix in and make it more organic than that.
Yeah, I like to put things that are meaningful. Like John has an old medical bag, and
Mm-hmm.
I have some mortar and pestles, and I'll have books that are
Mm-hmm.
not upright but stacked, and maybe one of those a mortar and pestle on top, and then
Mhm.
Even a big picture, like not a family photo, but just a
Mhm.
picture of something, I think it looks good
Oh,
just kinda
yeah.
leaning up against the back wall and yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
You can get so many awesome old books for so cheap at library book sales, and you can pick them out according to what colors you're trying to highlight or different interesting titles or whatever, but I there's just Steve's always like, "You're bringing home more books?" You can fit a lot of books.
I don't need to buy any more books. Sounds like Mindy doesn't either.
I know.
Well, I just think that that people can underestimate if you don't own a lot of books, people can underestimate how many books it takes to really fill up
Oh, yeah.
and make a good bookshelf.
Yeah.
Like, my daughter moved into a house last summer, and someone was giving away 30 or 35 for free decorative books on our buy-sell trade. So I said, "I'll take them." And I took them to her house, and I thought, "Oh, I'm gonna have so much fun arranging these books today." And I was done in, like, 10 minutes because 30
Mm,
books really don't get you that far.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
well, this is something that, with my injury, Bryce and I have been in our front room, which is where the books are,
Mhm.
because there's a comfortable chair in there. Well, we have spent a lot more time in that front room over the past month, and so he and I both decided it was time. It was time we were finally gonna tackle the
Mm.
bookshelves, and so we still haven't finished because it is the most
Satisfying?
mind-boggling, stressful. There like, I do not have a skill for this, and he's done well, but neither does he. Like, we both he's made more progress than I have, and
Mhm.
so we need help because we still haven't finished, and we keep kinda like, "Ugh."
You could just look on Instagram under
Yeah.
a couple hashtags of, like, bookshelves, and you would find so many inspirational pictures that would kinda
Yes.
jumpstart your brain.
Look up
Okay.
styled bookshelves, you'll find it.
Tiled bookshelves, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why this is one thing that literally I'm like, this is a different kind of thinking for me. I don't know why this isn't computing.
This should be fun, Mindy.
It feels sure. We went to Hobby Lobby, it was one of my first trips out of the house. I was like, "I gotta get out of the house. I know I can't walk far." Okay, so we go into Hobby Lobby and we're looking for, like, some stems,
Mm.
because we have a couple of openings. We were like, "Oh, yeah, it'd be nice to have some particular stems."
Mhm.
Well, we're looking at all the stems, and neither one of us can decide. I don't like anything I see. I end up sitting on the floor.
Oh, goodness.
Not having a not pouting, but, like, I started having pain in my back. We couldn't
Oh.
make a decision, so I just sat down, and I had just watched the guy sweep the floor. I was like, "Well, it's probably
Oh.
cleaner than my than my floor." And so I'm sitting on the floor, and we're talking through stems, and we walked out with nothing.
Oh,
Aw.
goodness. Well, speaking of stems, the next thing was clip a few branches. Is that kinda look you were going for?
A a little bit.
Maybe a little more permanent, though.
Maybe, yeah.
I feel like you're the type of person that would go into your yard, clip a branch, and it would look amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I have done that, but now I have to go in someone else's yard.
Okay.
So it's a little riskier now.
Yeah.
Get
Seriously, I've
permission.
I've taken walks in our park and I thought, I could come back at night and get this magnolia. Uh, and then I
Ooh.
think about all the Ring doorbell cameras that are
Oh,
catching me,
yeah. Yeah,
clipping
that's
the stuff.
true.
But, yeah, I've clipped like, in the spring, forsythia is really easy to just
Mhm,
put in a vase, and I like magnolia. It's not just a Christmas flower. I mean,
mhm.
it's
Mhm.
pretty in the spring. And anytime the fruit trees are in bloom, like redbud trees and all the fruit trees, just a branch or 2, and I'll put it in a blue and white one of my
Mhm.
blue and white vases, kinda one of the smaller neck ones.
Mhm.
So, yeah, that's an easy thing. If
Yeah.
you have it's very dramatic and, if you have access to it.
Right. Mindy, you have quite a yard. Do you ever do
Mhm.
that?
Yeah.
I do, and I have done it before, and actually, I have a neighbor that has come to clip magnolia leaves
Mm.
before
Mhm.
because they're actually, they're wild down here. It's something that you find in the woods all over the place, and so we have woods that literally surround our yard. But I'm not sure how to style them, so I actually need some help with that because I have them at my fingertips and I know people
Mm.
use them and I don't know how to use them.
Probably, again, put that into Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, when I clip a branch and put it in a vase, it doesn't look like the pictures.
Right. Yeah. Well, I know the Nester is a big proponent of just like,
Mhm.
I think even on the cover of one of her books, she did just like a branch in a vase. Like she's very much into very accessible, inexpensive, easy decor. And what could be easier than a branch from your yard?
Yeah, and not buying things that you have to store,
True.
just
Oh,
bring it in
yeah.
from the yard and then throw it out when it's done.
Mhm.
Not to be too morbid here, but when, John's, gravestone went in just a few months ago, it was December, so I put magnolia in it.
Mm.
And I did buy fake magnolia because fake magnolia looks like real magnolia,
Yeah.
and it was so beautiful. I mean, it just I don't
No.
know, it just had a real classic look and,
Okay. That's
Yeah.
a good
no
idea.
flowers, but it was really pretty.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's nice.
Yeah.
All right. The next one was raise your drapery rods. And I feel like this is in every article I ever read. And I think, who has still not gotten this memo? And why do places like Target and other easy places that people go to get curtains, why are they all selling 84 inches? Like, why
Yeah.
is everyone not selling minimum of 96 inches? I don't
Yeah.
understand. You have to go
I know,
online
even
to
I
get that.
knew this, people, even me. Okay.
Again, to quote the Nester, she said, "Drapes cover the wall, not the window." So, like, I just put drapes up in my bedroom, and I bought, they're 108, and they even
Mhm.
came 120.
Mhm.
But my ceiling, they're about a foot from the ceiling, but I also have about a foot of crown molding, so they look like they're at
Yeah.
the ceiling,
Mhm.
as high as they could
Mhm.
go. And well, it just makes you look up and appreciate the height of the room, I guess.
Sure.
Um, and then the curtains that I put up were room darkening, which I didn't really want,
Mhm.
because I don't close the curtains, I have
Mhm.
blinds. So,
Mhm.
but, when you hang them wider than the window, they're just hanging on the wall, so it's not dampening the light at all in
Right.
the room. It just makes the
S-
windows look bigger.
Hear the phrase
Mhm.
high and wide. You have to hang them
Mhm.
high and
Right.
wide.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite things, and I loved this hack, especially when I've lived in houses that had maybe some smaller living rooms or, like an eat-in kitchen that was wonderful that you can do with curtains.
Mhm.
Even if you don't have walls, like your curtains can be your art. And so I have always had so much fun, like adding color or warmth or light, or it changes the whole look. So it's one of my favorite accessories in the
Mhm.
home is curtains.
It
Mhm.
really
So,
finishes off the room, I think, because I wasn't
yeah.
gonna do drapes in my room because I didn't need them. I had
Yeah.
blinds, but I think it really was the finishing
Mhm.
touch.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
even though I don't use them, I wanted to put in a plug for, drapery rods because I like the French return, that go back
Mhm.
to the wall.
Mhm.
And in my den, I, bought one off Amazon, and I still hate it to this day every time I look at it because it
Really?
came in 1-foot sections.
Oh.
So you had to they were threaded, and you had to screw them all together, and you see every little line, you can
Oh.
tell that it's not one
Yeah.
rod, but
Yeah.
a solid brass rod like that would probably be like $300, and so,
Mm.
when I was gonna put these up in my bedroom, one of them I needed to be, like, 70 inches long, and I thought, "I'm not doing that again," so I kept looking all over for curtain rods, and they were gonna be more than my curtains, and I just didn't wanna do that. So I found quote, in air quotes,
Mhm.
brass rods at Target,
Mm.
and they were so easy to put up. I went right over to the store and bought them that day and had them up in, like, 2 hours.
Mm.
Oh,
No anchors, you just attach these little plastic, um, holders onto the wall, and then the brass slides over them,
Mm.
but you didn't have to use anchors, you put them up with 3 nails. It's kinda hard to explain, but the little plastic piece that you attach to the wall was angled like
Mm.
this,
Mhm.
and 2 nails went straight down, like, at a very sharp angle, and one nail went almost straight up. So it's like the nails were
Cool.
in the wall like this, and you cannot get them out.
Oh, that's
And it was
awesome.
just such a simple, like, it's so easy to just tap nails in instead of re-drilling a hole and putting the
That
anchor
is
in. And then
nice.
if you get it wrong, you've got this giant hole
Right.
that you have to patch, and it never patches
Mhm.
well,
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, look for those.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll put a link to
Wow.
those in our show notes
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yes.
That sounds really good. All right. Well, I like this next one. It's really easy. Corral items on trays. And it says, here's a trick that comes in handy for kitchen counters, coffee tables, and nightstands. A few items corralled on a tray will feel more intentional and pleasing to the eye than those same items scattered across a surface. I just can't keep my island clean. And I always have a bunch of little things out. And so I had this tray that I really liked. It's this silver tray that I got at a garage sale for $5. And it's really big, but I've never really known what to do with it. And I had it on a coffee table, but I didn't really know what to put in it. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to see if I could put this tray on my island. And then I just started putting the things that are normally
Mhm.
around my island on it. And for just daily living, it's so much easier on the eye not to see 10 little things all over the counter and to only see
Yeah.
just the tray.
Yeah. Yeah. Because again, if it's out, it's decor. So you're thinking, how's my chapstick
Yeah.
decor? But,
Yes.
like I like to have my salt and pepper, my olive oil, honey, and all my wooden spoons right by my stove. So I have a little wicker tray, and that all sits on that. And
Mm,
then I have a little wooden box that has all my cutting boards and my hot pads.
mm,
And then on my island, I have another tray. I mean, this is probably my favorite tip ever. I have trays
Yeah.
everywhere. I have a little blue and white vase. There's a couple of books, a candle, matches, a little catch-all bowl that has chapstick and,
mhm.
maybe medicine in it. And I know that Michael and Smith says that instead of seeing 8 little individual things, the she calls it a home base, turns it into one visually. It's like
Yeah.
you
Mm,
just see one thing on the island instead of all of that stuff, and that is really, really true.
mhm.
And, you have a silver tray. I use wicker baskets a lot. I've used a book before. She said, like, even a large book can be a base.
Oh,
Mm,
You could put a
cute.
plant on it or a lamp on
mhm,
it.
mhm,
I had that on my coffee table with books, photos, little glass hurricanes, a plant, even the TV remote. There's a place for the
Mhm.
remote, and just, vary the heights. And I mean, I have it in the bathroom, the back porch.
Wow.
Even my
Yeah.
dining room table, I have little jute placemats, and I always keep one in the center, and that's kind of what my centerpiece sits on. It just kind of
Yeah.
anchors it like it's supposed to be there. And
Right.
then if you have to move it, it's kind of easy to move it off.
mhm.
Right.
So I love that tip. I think, there's so many different things that could be the home base too.
Mhm. I know this was one that I was pretty proud. I gave myself a little pat on the back because I do it, and I was like, Look at me go. There's 2 things at least that I do."
Mhm.
But on my coffee table, it's really been nice because even during allergy season now, a box of Kleenex is part of the tray.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yep.
But I mean, I keep, a book that I'm reading on there, coasters for,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
furniture. I have a candle. Literally in every tray I have a candle because especially now as like power is gonna go out
Mm,
randomly
mhm.
with summer storms, spring storms. There's always a candle in one of my trays. But yeah, I like having a place to put the remotes because there's always more than one. And so
Mhm.
it corrals everything, and so it looks put together even just because it's together.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Otherwise, those things would be all everywhere else, and I really like to have clean surfaces,
Mhm.
so to have one place where they're together allows me to keep everywhere else clean.
Mhm.
Yeah. Looks less cluttered.
Cluttered. Mhm.
You probably, if you think about it, don't even need to go out and buy a tray. You probably
Right.
have trays.
Yeah.
Or something, it could be a placemat, a wooden piece of wood, or I've used
Yeah.
a breadboard before.
Yeah. I
Um,
say, like, all the charcuterie,
mhm.
things
Yeah.
that, are out there. I'm like, any of those things would be really good.
I even
Yeah.
have, like, in my bathroom, I had one tray, but I outgrew it. I like to keep a lot of products out. I don't wanna look in a drawer
Yeah.
every time. So I added another tray, and it's made me feel happier that my sink isn't always such a mess because it's on a tray. So that's technically put away.
It's clean.
Yeah.
But I feel like it makes it easier to clean the sink off because these things are on a tray and the whole area around the sink. And also just visually, it makes me feel like it's cleaned up. But I tend to like my things out and easily accessible.
Yeah, it's just
Right.
too time consuming to get
Yeah.
everything out and put it all back.
Yeah.
And then what I tend to do is if I don't put it back, then it's just like, oh, well, it's a mess anyway. And then it's just stuff's everywhere, you know?
Right.
So it's easier to keep track of it, I think, if you have a place for it,
Yeah.
even if it's
All
not
right.
away, you know?
I do want to ask Marie, what material is your tray in your bathroom? Because it might get wet or.
Oh, but one of them is plastic with like a pretty print on it that my sister had given me. And then another one is like one of those mirrored trays that the kids had given me. I mean, I guess they might get a few droplets on them, but it's my own sink, so I can't think of a time where I would be having the water so messy that it would be reaching the trays. I might not put it wouldn't put an expensive tray like in my son's bathroom or something.
Right.
I use a little bamboo box.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, one thing that because she called it a home base, so it doesn't have to be always about the way it looks. I've kind of taken it at a functional level all over the place. Like you mentioned your sourdough bread. I have a clear box that's kind of something you like store food in your pantry in that I keep right under my counter where my bowls are. And it has my bread flour, a big thing of salt. It even has my quarter cup measuring cup and my tablespoon because like it's always a tablespoon of salt, always a quarter cup of starter. Because I don't even like to go through my drawers and get the tablespoon and then go to the pantry and get the flour. So I have my home base for sourdough and I just pull that box out and make it. And I have bags around, like all my Colson stuff is in this one book bag. All my financial stuff is in another. And then I just always know where that is. And you can just pick it up and take it quickly with you. You know, if I'm going to be in the car and I think I might have a chance to read while I'm waiting on something, I'll just throw that bag in. So I have little home bases everywhere.
Yeah. All right. Good tips. All right. Our last tip was add a stripe. And Julie, I just had to think about you because you've talked before about how every shirt you own is striped. And then I was thinking you probably love a stripe in home decor too.
You know, I laugh too because I am a sucker for stripes and I looked around and I don't have a single stripe. Because they're all in my closet on my shirts.
Oh,
and
I'm so surprised by that.
I know. And I loved the picture that they showed. It was a ticking stripe on a sofa.
Yeah.
And I thought, I've never thought about getting a sofa that has a stripe on it because I'm about to maybe buy a new sofa. And I've only had leather for like 30 years. So I don't know what to get. You know, I haven't thought about fabric. I think I do have one set of sheets that's ticking, which I love ticking.
I love ticking too.
Yeah, I just don't have stripes in it. They really do go with plaid and floral and
I don't have a lot of stripes. I have one chair that's striped and I do have a couple ticking comforters, but I definitely think in curtains you see a lot of stripes and they can be just like another neutral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have stripes, Mindy?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
So we got to get on this.
I guess we need to add some stripes here.
I do. I love florals. Like if I do a print, I'm very neutral, but if I do a print, I do really love different types of florals. And so I tend to lean more towards a floral pattern, but I do love a stripe because it almost adds a masculine, like it tones down the floral. But I do love it. I just haven't really done it.
Something new for all of us to try.
I know. I've learned a lot in all these very simple things that are very achievable.
Listeners, we would love to know what you think about these tips. Maybe you already have a ton of stripes, or you love the corralling items on a tray idea, or maybe you said, oh, I already do this or that. Do you want to spend your afternoon arranging bookshelves like Julie and I? Come and find us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast or email us at midlifematterspodcast@gmail.com. But before we go, we want to do I'm a Fan. All right, Julie, what are you a fan of this week?
All right, I'm a fan of something at Walmart, and I think Mindy might have mentioned this a couple of episodes ago about Walmart clothes, and we wondered if they would look as good in person as they do on all the Instagram reels. So I was just in Walmart and thought I'll swing through the ladies section, and they have a brand, and it's probably not new. It's called Free Assembly. Have you seen that brand?
No, I haven't.
I bought a dress and a pair of pants. And it was really funny because
Oh.
I even commented when I checked out that they were both striped. The dress was striped and the pants were striped. And I said, I really need this. Like, I need a hole in my head, but I'm getting them anyway. And
Wow.
they were so cute. I mean, the dress is so cute. I bought it for my trip, and you can't beat the price. I thought it really looked nice. Yeah, yeah.
Wow. I will be shopping.
All right, Mindy, what are you a fan of this week?
I am a fan of a free beauty hack that I have started to do, and it's so simple I haven't even thought to share it. But I'll go ahead and share it just in case our listeners haven't thought of doing it. But when your hair is dry, blow drying it.
So blow dry it when it's dry.
Dry, blow drying.
Okay.
And the reason this is really like groundbreaking is because you can have product in your hair. It can be crimped up from sleeping. But if you are able to blow dry it a little bit, it gives it a fresh look again, even with still being dry. The heat of the blow dryer will help kind of settle some of the crimps or creases or whatever. And so
Interesting.
it's kind of a hack because it's so simple. And usually, I mean, you just don't think of using a blow dryer unless your hair's wet. But it's saved me a lot. And so I like to wash my hair at night. And in the morning when I wake up, it's dry, but I'll blow dry it. And it literally helps it so much.
Oh, I'm gonna try that.
It's really a hack. And I was like, why have I not been doing this before? Because you
That's
don't have
right.
to curl it or hide it, but it literally does something special.
That's what I do every morning because
Yeah.
when I wake up, my hair's everywhere. I usually have a big
Yes.
bowl in the back where it's flat, and so
Uh-huh.
it gets curly in the night because I don't know, it gets kind of frizzy.
Mhm.
And that's
Uh-huh.
the only way I know to do it because I only wash my hair like every third day. So I just get the blow
Yes.
dryer out with the brush and straighten it out again.
I know. I just have never thought to talk about it. I'm like, well, maybe somebody doesn't know this hack.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right. This week, I'm a fan of a way to get pet hair off your furniture and blankets and things like that. So I saw this years ago, but I didn't want to spend $25. Actually, I'm looking now and it's down to $14. Wow. Maybe I need to have two. It's a lightning deal. The regular price is $25. So, wow, that's amazing. Okay. Anyways, listen up. So it's called the Chom Chom Roller Pet Hair Remover, and this is the original size. And I thought, well, how good could it really be? $25? That seems kind of steep. It's great. And I have bought like the bulk packages of Costco of those like little sheets that you tear off, but I go
Yeah.
through so many of them. This is reusable. It like captures the hair inside. It's super easy to let go of, and it's just a great hack. And you've used it before, Julie?
I'm a fan before.
Okay.
I have 2 of them, and I don't need it for the dog hair anymore, but occasionally for cat hair. Yeah, like, it will come off of any surface. It's like a weird fabric kinda thing that rolls back and forth, and then it collects the hair for you. Yeah.
Yes. So anyways, try out the Chom Chom pet hair remover. I
Yeah.
will put a link in our show notes.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, Julie, Mindy, I loved this conversation. Let's be sure and share any striped decor that we add to our home. And we will talk with you next week.
All right,
Sounds great.
I'm off to style my bookcases.
Hey.
Sounds good. All right, bye-bye.
All right, bye.
We're so happy you joined us today. You can find the show notes for this episode at midlifematterspodcast.com. Also, please tell a friend about the show and help them hit the free subscribe button on their favorite podcast app. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Midlife Matters Podcast. That's where we post pictures and stories about all the things we talk about in each episode. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.